el sector sanitario. Vamos a hablar de ello con Robert Milano, que es Senior Investment Strategist y también Head de Emea Equity Business Development en Alliance Bernstein. Robert, good afternoon. Thank you so much for being in Office Televisión.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Robert, many investors typically associated healthcare with a defensive portfolio, but do you think that that the sector offers offensive opportunities as well?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think having the defensive perspective of healthcare is true, right? We look back at last year, for example, 2022, as we know, was a very difficult environment for the market more broadly. The healthcare sector was down about 5.5%, 5.4% in US dollar terms. The MSCI World in dollar terms was down more than 18%. So that defensiveness is certainly true of the sector. And when we look back at basically every down market going back to the year 2000, healthcare has provided a greater degree of support and resilience. But I think people do tend to underestimate the offensive capability of the sector. When we look back at the trailing 10 and 15 years through the end of 2022, healthcare is actually the best performing sector after just technology, with significant outperformance of the broader market. So when we look at the 10-year number, for example, through the end of December of last year, the MSCI World was up an annualized 8.9%. In US dollar terms, healthcare was up around 12% annualized. So really significant outperformance over the last decade. Looking 15 years back, you're seeing about 400 basis points of annualized outperformance. So there is a really interesting opportunity here where you can really get both offensive and defensive characteristics within the sector. Our view of kind of why that is the evolution of the sector. When you look at the composition of the healthcare sector over the last 20 years, back in 2000, about 80%, a little bit more than 80% of the sector was really comprised of pharmaceuticals. As we know, those tend to be more defensive businesses. When we fast forward to today, that's actually just about 40% pharmaceuticals, and then you have other areas of much higher, longer-term growth opportunity, thinking about biotechnology, healthcare technology, life science tools and services, managed care, looking at equipment and supplies, for example, within the healthcare space. So we do think that there are some newer, interesting opportunities for companies to come in and really drive longer-term secular growth.
Do you think, Robert, that the healthcare sector offers an interesting secular growth opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, we're all getting older. By the end of, I want to say it's 2050, we're going to have about 1.6 billion people in the world who are over the age of 65. So as we all get older, we know that we have to go to the doctor more regularly. We all take more medications to keep us healthy. The average number of procedures that people undergo in their lifetime is, call it 7 on average, which is quite a lot when you think about it. So there's a lot of room for efficiency and improvement in the way that we deliver medicine, the way that we identify problems earlier, the way that we then deal with the quality of care, in less invasive procedures, for example. All of this, we think, provides pretty attractive longer-term growth opportunity for the sector. But what we're looking for is really interesting business models that we think will help to improve efficiency, improve the outcome for the patient, operate within a virtuous ecosystem, but at the same time are not driving up cost in a really material way. The other opportunity that we tend to find as well that we think is really underappreciated is the AI opportunity within the sector. So I think many people have been really excited about that and the implications for tech. What we have not seen yet is the same level of excitement within the healthcare space, for instance. So that's one area that we think over time will become a bit more clear, but there are some really interesting opportunities that we can identify for longer-term investment within the space where they'll benefit pretty meaningfully there.
What is, in your view, the best way to approach an investment within the healthcare sector?
Yeah, so a lot of people tend to approach the sector by investing in biotech. That's where they tend to find the really interesting pockets of innovation. So normally people will look at small and mid-cap biotech, for example, as opportunities for growth. The challenge that we have with that is that there tends to be a lot of volatility. It's very, very difficult historically to predict scientific success. So in our view, what we like to do instead is focus very much on the efficiency and the research and development and the profitability of a business. If we can take a business-based approach to investing within the space, it should provide a more consistent pattern of fundamental performance while also delivering for clients longer term a much more consistent risk-adjusted performance. So what we're looking for is really effective, our really effective R&D cultures within our portfolio, because longer term, when you look at the success rate for a drug to go from phase 1 clinical trials to ultimate approval, it's actually about an 8% success rate. So the probability of success is very, very low if you're trying to predict which company is going to produce the next effective vaccine or the next effective cancer treatment, for instance. But if you can find a business that generates a high level of profitability by internally developing a number of drugs where they can drive and operate the business today based off of their existing pipeline of product and their existing product that's in the market, and they're investing those profits really consistently back into the business, they should, over time, be able to self-sustain that growth and deliver more consistent performance over the longer term.
Robert Milano, Senior Investment Strategist and Head of Emea Equity Business Development at Alliance Bernstein. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
It's been a pleasure.